South Harmon. Welcome to the week 1 episode of The Game Plan. Oh boy, am I excited. And it's for good reason. You all know why I'm excited. It's the exact reason why y'all are excited. First and foremost, give a big shout out to the troops, the boys in the chat, Big Fizz, Cali Trader, DB, Dicey Berry, Cold World. Yeah, baby. We made it. We got here. It is week 1 of the NFL season. I know we got a little taste on Thursday Night Football, on Friday Night Football. Both of those games were fantastic. There were fantasy points to be scored. There were fantasy duds. Are we worried about Mark Andrews? Spoiler, nope. Do we love Isaiah Likely? Yeah, I mean, we've always liked Isaiah Likely. Now, if he's going to be using 12 personnel like that, sign me up, baby. Sign me up. But it's very, very exciting to be here. And first and foremost, shout out to South Harmon kicking it off here bright and early, 9 a.m. with the game plan. We got start or shit starting at noon. Me and the big dog, Eric Vanek, will be answering all your start sit questions. And of course, if you're here in the game plan, if you were gracious enough to wake up early with me and get going, if you have any lineup questions right now, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll definitely get to them. But if you're not familiar with how the in-season game plan episodes work, if you were not around last year when I did this over at Play Pro, this is how it'll go every week. It will start with a little bit of news and notes. We'll be dropping any of the pertinent information that you may know as you're trying to make those lineup decisions will be talked about here. Then we'll go into a quick segment. That's a buy segment, a sell segment, something that you can use in your league, something you can take away from the episode and use throughout the rest of the week. And then we're going to go to the shit list. You may know this. You may have remembered this as the bargain bin, but here at South Harmon, we're calling it the shit list. These are players that are not universally rostered. Most of them are under 50%. That if you are in a bind, and I know it's tough to be in a bind in week 1, but I'm in a league where I need to go dumpster diving. I need to get rid of the shit list here in week 1. So it's a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end. But this year, since we're doing it big over at South Harmon, I'm also going to include a DST and kicker for all my Dynasty brethren, all my DST kickers leagues, anyone that participates in stuff of that nature. So we'll go into all of that. So why don't we get this going right away with some news and notes for the week 1 season. First, we'll start with Jordan Love. It seems as if he avoided major injury. He was diagnosed with an MCL sprain. ACL's intact. They ruled out an ankle injury before they left Brazil. I'm also going to shout out just a little behind the scenes. I'm actually going to brunch today with my Brazilian mother-in-law. So shout out to Brazil. Anyway, so it seems like we are not out of the woods when it comes to Jordan Love, but we can be very, we could breathe a big sigh of relief knowing that it's not a season ender. Matter of fact, he could be back within a month. DB says, all right, it was some spooky stuff. I know I went to bed. Right at the end of the game thinking it was over. Woke up to all this panic about Jordan Love, and it's just like, what? He got hurt? Well, at least it looks like it won't be a season ender, which also we can take a big sigh of relief, where if you have Jaden Reed, if you have Romeo Dubes, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, the offense seems like it will continue a bit smoothly. I'd say smoothly from week to week until he gets back. The pivot, Cole, I think it's Tannehill. I think Tannehill makes a whole lot of sense. He brings a little bit of that mobility, and he's used to, that Arthur Smith offense, which is very dialed down, very conservative. And while Jordan Love's out, they're not going to take a whole lot of chances. They have so much weaponry. They can get the ball to Jaden Reed at the line of scrimmage. He can make plays. Josh Jacobs about to see 25 carries a game. I think a Tannehill makes a whole lot of sense, but they brought in Willis. They brought him in, and they liked what they saw out of him. So maybe they just go with him and they go with a very run-centric offense for these couple weeks as he gets back. Trading for Mac Jones, no. I don't think they trade for anything. If it was a season ender, sure, you could put a trade on the books. But the fact that he may only miss a month and a half, I don't think that they make any type of trade, especially a team that's been so conservative and so they don't take many risks when it comes to their draft picks. They don't trade it a lot. You know, they like to use those draft picks. Brandon Ayuk, he'll see a bit of a reduction in snaps, obviously. Are you playing him? Yes, unless you're in a dynasty team that you just freaking loaded and you drafted well this year and you got some guys on your bench that you feel comfortable in. Right now, I have Ayuk Pitt at wide receiver 24. That's a bit of a deflation in terms of where he typically will sit. Oh, baby. Shout out. Oh, let me get Jason, my trade guy, brother. Big J's in the house. Shout out to you. What am I doing with Fields? Well, friend, I got him at QB 14 this week if he plays right behind Brock Purdy, ahead of guys like Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, and Baker Mayfield. Give me the rushing upside on the Georgia boy in the dome. If he starts, I'm okay playing me some Justin Fields, especially in 2 QB Superflex leagues. But as far as Brandon Ayuk, I'm playing him as well, but I ain't as excited as I will be in the coming weeks. Antonio Gibson, my boy, plans to play in week 1. More on him later in the show. Keenan Allen, who was questionable with a heel injury, expects to play this week. But any week he goes in questionable, I think those are the weeks we can be more confident that it's going to be Roman, DJ Moore. So that makes sense there. DJ Shark on injury reserve. Okay. DeAndre Hopkins, he's questionable, but he will play in week 1 against the Bears. Great. We want all the offensive players healthy in that matchup because there is a sneaky shootout. If Will Levis can answer the bell and attack this secondary and get past, Sweat and really avert being thrown to the ground over and over and over, this offensive line, JC Latham, all these guys, they could keep him upright. We could see some points in that game. That's a matchup that I've actually been pretty excited about. Christian McCaffrey will carry that questionable tag because he was limited, but it seems like there was no setbacks and he should play Monday Night Football. I would do what you can to have Jordan Mason, or if you need to get even deeper, like a Braylon Allen, like you need a Monday night thing, or if you could put him in your flex, then that opens that, but you need a Monday night holy shit alternative just in case. But it seems like you'll be okay with him playing. Jamar Chase, man, you're playing him. You can never leave Jamar Chase on your bench, but this is the only week that I have him ranked at wide receiver 19 in the weekly ranks. I'm just nervous with the limited. He said he's going to be limited. He's talking out his ass. It's just a bit nerve-wracking for me, so I'm just going to kind of stay away. CeeDee Lamb was activated off the non-football injury list, and he is ready to rock. Myles Gaskin was elevated. Why does that matter? Well, if you play in Scott Fishbowl, it's the only reason why it matters. He's supposedly going to be taking the kicks back, and in that league, that's going to matter for sure. The coaches have told Russell Wilson that he can play, but the doctors are being overly cautious. The doctors, they don't like to kind of risk it early on with a calf injury. Calves are typically very, very conservative approaches. The game plans there are very conservative. So my gut tells me that we see Justin Fields start this game. And as I said, I got him as a top 15 play. All right, let's keep the game plan train moving. But before I do, let's see the chat. What we got in the chat. Is it crazy to play Monty over MJH this week? Yes. I'm not nervous about Harrison at all. Talking through it on Cody on the walkthrough, it really just kind of I got him as a top 10 play today. And my ranks now reflect they have been all the four teams that have played so far. Those guys have all been removed, so we're seeing an elevation. But I had him as a top 12 play. Now I got Marvin in top 10. Buffalo's secondary has really been inept at covering on the outside over the last few years, and Marv is Marv. Usually the cross country trip is such a big deal in season, but this is like literally the week where it doesn't matter. Week 1, they've had all summer to go. They could have went to Buffalo 2 weeks ago. It wouldn't like they're ready to go. They're going to be acclimated to Buffalo, and they've probably had a couple healthy portions of that delicious buffalo wings up there. So I got Marv. I'm playing Marv all day. I am not scared of Marv. You use the 101 in rookie drafts. You use the top pick, a round 1 pick, a round 2 pick for him. I'm going MJH all day. Give me Marvin Harrison all damn day. Have a great let's go, Jason. Enjoy. Also, make sure you rock with Jason over at Player Pro. He does a phenomenal job on Sundays getting everyone ready. So after the show, in between our little hiatus between the game plan and start shit, go support Jason over at Player Pro because he just does the damn thing. He's one of those special content creators in the space. Fizzle Dolls, what's up, Fizz? What's up, baby? Fields or Cousins? Who has a better game today versus each other? Well, I have I have Fields at 14, Cousins at 21. I don't know if I'm nervous about Cousins. I just want to see it. It's just one of those things that I'm just going to be a week late if it happens. So given the rushing upside, given, all the vibe factor, and I listen, if you don't like vibes, I completely understand. Going off vibes isn't kind of berserko, but I'm going off vibes here. I think Fields going home, proving that he could be a starter in this league, basically telling Arthur Blank in the front office that you could have had me for nothing. I'm big in the Fields today for sure. Neighbors or Waddle for his last flex spot. Talk about a humble brag, my friend. That's your last flex. Dang, I got Waddle at 8, and I love Neighbors. I got Neighbors at 12, but Waddle this week, I think it's going to be the premier shootout of the week. Well, of the early slate. The Sunday night game is going to be awesome. Would I start Ayuk over London, Neighbors, Ridley, or JSN? Well, let's look at the ranks, my friend. I have, as I said, Ayuk at 24. I have London at 14, so I'm starting London. Next on the list, Malik Neighbors. I'd have him at 12, so I'm definitely playing Neighbors. This is where it gets close, and this is where where is he? I have Ridley at 31, so I will pay Ayuk over Ridley, and I got JSN at 32. So great plays, good roster, love it. But I am playing Ayuk over Smith, Njigba, and Calvin Ridley. PPR, Walker or Olave. I'm assuming Kenneth. I'm going Walker. I got him at running back 7. Love him this week. And I don't love Olave. I got him at wide receiver 22. I think that is a low-scoring affair. I think that after week 1, the panic button is so loud in New Orleans in terms of the offense and everything. So I'm going to go with Ken Walker there. Dynasty Football, Keith met him in Canton. Great guy. I love what he's doing over at the YouTube channel. I'm a subscriber now, and I'm checking out all of his episodes. Good luck with week 1. Good luck to you too, my friend. Yeah, Marlins Cabby. I always rock my baseball stuff. Because at the end of the day, my heart, I'm always a baseball guy. I love baseball. I'm a big baseball fan, and Red Sox absolutely suck right now. So I got to respect the other teams that I have hats of and whatnot. Yeah, big point, Fizz. At noon Eastern time, head back to the South Harmon YouTube channel and get those questions ready for start shit. Also, leave in the comments after this video, would you want the game plan to be moved up to not start at 9? Would you, as a viewer, would you rather have the back-to-back, the roll into one, or do you like the gap? Leave it in the comments, not the live chat. Leave it in the comments after the video's over and all that good stuff, and we'll make that decision for next week. All right, I got a quick buy segment. These are 3 players that I'm buying right now. Obviously, heading after this week, and I'll talk about it, kind of talk through it, because what happens today is it's going to really kind of play out how it works. So we'll kind of just talk through it. Jalen Wright is my first buy. So for me, it feels like today he's not going to see a whole lot of love. I would only project maybe 5-8 touches. He's kind of low on the depth chart, and of course, A-Chain and most have been able to carry the load. So I don't expect him to kind of burst onto the scene right away. But the second that he does, and it could be week 1, it could be. The second that he does, you're too late. You're using all your fab if he's a free agent. So if he's a free agent, definitely pick him up. But he's a roster over about 65%. So in most leagues, he's not available. And if you're in a league with me, he's certainly not available. But I'm sending out an offer. See if you can get him for one of your bench receivers. If you got a tight end that you like, that you grabbed in the 12th, 13th round, but you got someone else, you got 2 tight ends, try to get him cheap now, because the second he just shows something, that 4.38 speed, that size, it's going to cause his price to go through the roof. Devon A-Chain, obviously he went for 50 points, but when he had his breakout game, Dynasty running back 3, you ain't getting my A-Chain, then he got hurt and everything leveled and blah, 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 blah. But at the time, that skyrocketed, and Jalen Wright was Mike McDaniel guy, and he moved up to get him. So I'm trying to buy now. The way they used him in that 3rd preseason game, I think is very telling. It wasn't talked about enough. It was very underreported, but they threw him the ball 4 times. He had 4 receptions for 40 yards. They used him on Texas routes, angle routes. They used him like Arian Foster was used in that game. And now, of course, it's not going to be a 1-for-1, but the fact that they want to see, and these were designed plays. These were not checkdowns. These were designed plays 3 out of the 4 times to Jalen Wright out of the backfield. And he looked good. He attacked out of that position. Once the opportunity is there, it's wheels up for him, and you ain't getting him. So that's why I'm trying to buy now, while the price is still probably favorable in the seasonal leagues. Romeo Dubes, my second buy. I'm still buying. I'm not buying. Watching that game, 4 for 50 yards, gone to, they threw to him in the end zone. They target him downfield over and over and over again. Romeo Dubes is the second best wide receiver on this team. Okay, I know Christian Watson had the touchdown, but look at that receiving line. If Watson doesn't catch that touchdown, it's putrid. But Romeo Dubes, 6 targets tied for the lead, 4 receptions tied for the lead, 50 yards, second on the team. Jaden Reed is the best player. I've been, so happy about him and his progressions since before he was drafted. So seeing him as the number one completely makes sense. But Dubes is going to settle there in number 2. And with the injury to Jordan Love, the price is going to go down. With him not having a spectacular game in Brazil, the price is going to be nice. You're going to be able to acquire Romeo Dubes quite cheaply right now. And whether it be Ryan Tannehill or Willis or Clifford, or who knows? Who knows is the quarterback in the meantime, but you don't want to make hasty decisions because we know that Love will be back. I was trying to think of a cooler, funnier way to say it, but we know that Love will be back in the mix sooner rather than later. So use these little dips in value to get your hands on the players that we liked a week ago, without a doubt. Jalen Polk, wide receiver 1 emergence. It could be, but it could look something like 8 targets, 4 receptions, 52 yards, no tutties. But that would be wide receiver 1 in this putrid Patriot offense. But I'm ready to be surprised here. Jalen fits the offense. Rob, you are right, correct. Harry Snowman hits the home run there. He's such a good fit in the offense. Huge fan of Wright. Join the club, baby. I love it. What up, Matty? What's up, Ryan? Thank you for tuning in, tapping in. I did see a couple things I want to bring this up. Go on. Like the 9 a.m. Nice little warm-up, cold legs to 9 a.m. I'll keep it 9 a.m. because I'm an early guy. I got 3 little ones, so I'm up early. I like the 9 a.m. hustle. I like coming out here early. So if y'all like it in the morning, I'm here for you. We can do it early. We can have our cup of coffee. We'll steal that from Jason Alwine, my brother. We'll have our coffee. Actually, take a sip. You got your coffee? Take a sip. Because by the time you see me on Start and Sit, I will be drinking beers. I will have made the transition from delicious, healthy coffee to having, very bad beers and all that good stuff. 9 a.m. works. All right, boy. All right. Seems like 9 a.m. is going to be the move. The last buy that I have, and if you've been following the content whatsoever, you already know. It's Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson. I was at a legit sales meeting with prospective clients a week ago, and I overheard that they were having their big fantasy drafts. It was Labor Day weekend, and I turned around after I absolutely crushed the sales meeting, and I pointed back to him. I said, "Hey guys, draft Brian Robinson." So I'm not only putting my content career on the line by touting Brian Robinson, I'm putting my day job. I'm offering this advice to clients now or prospective customers, and I'm telling them, listen, draft Brian Robinson. That's how excited I am for Brian Robinson. And the opportunity to buy, if you can't do so before kickoff, which is really tough. I'm not expecting that. It projects that his value will come down a bit. Not a lot, but down a bit, because Tampa has a really good run defense. They're very, very good up front with Vita Vea. So, that between the tackles role that he's going to see early on, because Eckler's going to get his touches as the kind of pass catcher at first, because the veteran role and and he's healthy. But Ryan Robinson, we saw all camp shine in the passing game. And Cliff Kingsbury is going to want to be up tempo. And if the offense is moving, and it started with a 5-yard run between the tackles by B-Rob, and then it was a 7-yard completion to Terry McLaurin, and then it was a 5-yard dump off to Brian Robinson, they're going to keep him on the field as they keep this pace. There are going to be many drives in which, yes, theoretically they'd want Eckler on the field, but because they're cooking and because Brian Robinson's getting the early down touches, he's going to stay on the field. And that could also happen after a big play. They're trying to get the line of scrimmage quick at the 2, boom, bang, boom, touchdown. Brian Robinson's going to shine, but he might have a down week this week as the offense gets started with Jaden Daniels in this defense, or the Tampa Bay defense. So I got him at running back 22. I have him behind guys like Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert, Tony Pollard, but I do still have him ahead of guys like Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, and Chuba Hubbard. So I do like him this week. I don't love him, but I would say that if he comes away with, a decent YPC at 80 yards, no touchdowns, people are going to be pretty depressed about that 8-point-something fantasy points. But that's, again, that Romeo Dubes signal, like, let me swoop. You got to swoop. Dynasty is about accruing value over the calendar year. Fantasy redraft, it's about accruing data in this first month as people are still trying to get their feet wet. Because come Halloween, come 8 weeks from now, come a little bit before that, come October even, everyone's going to have their ideas and they're going to know where they're getting their stats from. They're probably going to be tuning in here at South Harmon, so they're going to have good information and everything's going to solidify. And we're going to start seeing these kind of biases be confirmed, if you will, by then, and it's a lot tougher to make seasonal trades at that point. So you want to start nipping right now. Start getting out there, get on those lines, start making those texts to your buddies, get the things going today, and see if you can kind of get. I was out to dinner or out for beers Friday night watching that game, and my buddy has Jalen Hurts, and this was all he was joking for sure. He's a funny guy, but he looks at me and goes, "Should I trade Jalen Hurts?" After Jalen Hurts threw the pick, had the fumble, he's like he had -3 points, and he was joking, obviously, but that's true for someone out there. They weren't joking. If you would have sent an offer in that moment, they would have taken it. Like I said, my buddy was joking, but someone's buddy ain't. So you got to try to take advantage of those morsels of opportunity early on in the day or early on in the season, so that we can laugh about that value later on. Because like the difference between dynasty and seasonal, it's obviously night and day, and you come to South Harmon for the best dynasty analysis and coverage on planet Earth. But I'm trying to help you now with that seasonal stuff. Another tweet. Oh, my boy, grimy 3 here, 6 a.m. West Coast time is smooth for me. So seems pretty overwhelming. We'll keep it at 9. I like the 9 o'clock. I like that. We'll get started. All right. So for anyone that's new to the game plan, this will be a weekly segment. It's called the shit list. It's 4 players, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and 1 tight end. Guys that are not universally rostered, guys that are typically under 50% rostered on the major platforms. And these are guys that in a bind, you can add, you could play. So this is the shit list. This is the segment formerly called the bargain bin, now is called the shit list. And we are going to go through 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end. And because I love y'all over here at South Harmon, because you're rocking with the best in the world, I'm adding DST. I'm adding kicker for the boys, for the dinosaurs, for everyone that plays throwback. I've been reading this book, The History of Fantasy Sports. Yes, I am a true fantasy sicko. Like, I'm about this. I'm about this life. I love fantasy, and I'm reading the history of it. And man, as complicated as fantasy's gotten, which is beautiful, the dynasties, the C2Cs, like I love the fact that I know who 5-star high school seniors are, because it just kind of it makes it all crazy. It makes me pretend that I'm a GM in football. But when I'm reading this book, reading about how it used to be, go, oh yeah, when it used to just be for the boys, it was just nothing mattered other than beating your friend. It didn't matter. And I'm sorry, I'm just going on a long-winded thing here, but I thought of that and I said to myself, hey, I'm gonna add the kickers and DST, because some leagues, I have a few leagues, we still got the kickers and defense. So let's start quarterback. I'll stop rambling. I'm sorry. I'm very excited, guys. It's week 1. It's the first Sunday slate of week 1. Wait, what? If I'm ever at Central CT haircut on me, brother, well, I'm a mass. I can head over to Central CT some point this year. We'll have to go ahead and I'll take you up on that haircut, because, bro, right now I'm getting one tomorrow, but right now your boy's looking rough. That's why I got the old cap on here. That thanks, Dynasty B. Again, I'm still rambling. I'm literally still rambling. All right, let's get back in. Let's focus up. Start a quarterback. My quarterback play this week in the shit list is Trevor Lawrence. Big T-Law, sunshine. So the Jaguars are in South Beach. They're playing the Dolphins in 90-degree weather. It's going to be hot, but I don't care, because the over-under is 49. That's second highest on the slate. Jacksonville, they're getting 3 points. So I would say that kind of suggests a potential back and forth affair. And if there's second highest points total on the slate, a back and forth means what we call in the biz as a shootout. So I'm expecting shootout here. I love this matchup. I'm targeting this matchup. My rankings reflect it wholeheartedly. Last year, again, defensive metrics, we don't really have a lot of. That's what makes week 1 so tough. But we'll look at last year. And Miami was top 10 in air yard or yards surrendered per target. They were kind of beat deep when they were beat. And that's good. That's good for Trevor Lawrence. Because my man can chuck the pigskin. And again, I'm rambling and my mind's going crazy, so I'm going to say this and then go off the rails again. When I say pigskin, do you guys think of Varsity Blues? I always say, throw that fucking pigskin. when he hits his dad right in the nose. Moxley. Every time I hear the word pigskin, I think of that. I think of Varsity Blues. Hulk down, fucking pigskin. His dad. I don't know, but anyway, Trevor Lawrence can do that. Last year, they asked him to do that. He threw the ball. He had the 5th most deep ball attempts in the NFL, and he had the 8th most air yards per attempt. So last year, Doug Peterson and company wanted him to throw deep. He was pretty good despite the lack of wow moments, but individually, he was 7th in money throws. He made a lot of big throws. And he was 8th in deep ball accuracy rating. You take all those information, and it clearly paints a picture of a guy who's capable of throwing it deep, a player that can make plays deep, a quarterback that has the arm and the arm talent to attack downfield. And rightly, the Jaguars saw this, and they improved that aspect of their offense. They went out and invested in 2 deep weapons, gave Davis and 1st-round draft pick Brian Thomas Jr., and so with his ability to throw deep, now he has the weapons to throw deep. I think we see that immediately because this is a big game for the Jaguars. This is a very big game for the Jaguars. They had an underwhelming 23 season, to say the least. They're going to want to come out this year against a team that's, if they're not projected to win the AFC East, they're certainly projected to contend for the AFC East title. So they want to come down, fellow Florida franchise. The Jaguars are going to come out ready to go. And Trevor Lawrence specifically needs to come out ready to go. He just got the bag. He got a lot of money, in that fan base and that front office. They're going to want to make sure that, or not make sure, they know he's the guy. They gave him the money, but they would love nothing more than to see that guy shine in week 1. And with the points that's being expected and Lawrence making those splash plays in week 1, it's dialing up a spot in which Trevor Lawrence can excel this week. And I have him as a top 10 play. I have him at quarterback 5, actually, now, after I removed Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love and Mahomes and Lamar. That's 4 guys that were probably ranked ahead of him, truthfully. But now he's up to quarterback 5 on the Sunday slate. I love this offense or this potential of this offense this week against the Dolphins. So if you're in a bind and you need a quarterback here, if you're not feeling safe, or if you want to just add a quarterback that's available in your 1 QB leagues because you lost Jordan Love, add Trevor Lawrence now because he's going to have a big game in week 1. So whether you're needing him to play or you just want to make sure your league mates don't get him, add him because he's on the shit list because he's looking like he's going to have a big game. I mentioned him at the top of the show. I've mentioned him no less than 6,000 times over the last 4 years of his career. But I'm going to talk about it more in detail why Antonio Gibson playing is a good move for us fantasy gamers. And if you're in a pinch, I also tease that I am in a pinch in a league where I have to play a running back. I'm thinking about starting Gibson. I have another option, and he was taken off the injury list, so it's made it a tougher decision for me. But at going into the day, I was assuming Antonio Gibson was going to have to step up for me. He's only rostered in about 40% of leagues across platforms, 36% on Sleeper. The over-under in this game is 40.5 last time I checked, which was the Stone Min. It was the lowest in the slate. It probably has gone down since I wrote down the notes because, Jamar Chase is telling everyone he's going to be limited. T. Higgins is out. This game's going to suck. And the Patriots suck. And they might get a win. Probably not. I don't know. We'll just kind of put on red zone today. But anyway, this matchup stinks. It stinks. The Patriots were 8-point underdogs. That's come up a little bit since the injury, but still, they're projected to lose by over a touchdown. And if they do get beat down, and I still think they do, with Jamar Chase on the field, he doesn't need to have 10 targets to be awesome. With all this BS, he's still, like I said, a top 20 play for me. So he has a talent. And if they do get beat down, well, comeback mode will mean extra opportunities for Gibson. And there's one thing we know about Gibson. You might not love him like I love him, but the dude is a good pass catcher. He's dynamic as a pass catcher in an offense. And if they have a comeback mode, if the Patriots are needing to be in comeback mode, why wouldn't you have him on the field of time? I know Ramondre has that big receiving season, but that was all checkdowns. There was nothing dynamic about that season for Stevenson in the passing game where Gibson can be used in a bit of a more electric role. out of the backfield. So if they're needing to be come back, if they need to come, catch up, whether it be in the first half or second half, I'm expecting Antonio Gibson to get some touches, and he can catch the ball. He's had 45 receptions on average each of his years as a pro. So if he comes away with 3 catches for 25 yards and he runs for 25 yards, I mean, it's not great, but in a pinch, you'll take that in flex. In RB2, that can win you a week. Grinding out these points in seasonal, especially early on, is so important. And Antonio Gibson, he can do that type of damage, or he can go off. We've seen him take 60-yard plays to the house. So the more times he's on the field, the more opportunities he's going to have to make plays. And I like Antonio Gibson as a playmaker, as a pass catcher especially. So why not take a look at a guy like this? He also has a nose for the end zone. I don't know what you want to put your finger on it, whether it's luck or not, but he has 2 seasons of double-digit touchdowns. So deep bomb to Jalen Polk. He's on the field, touchdown. Seemingly, he's got some luck in that department. So this is what we're looking for. Guy who can catch the ball and a guy who can find the end zone when we're searching the shit list, when we're looking for our waiver wire to really help us out. And like I said, this need is a lot less in week 1, a lot less, because we're not worried about injuries and buys. But when that kicks in, you're going to want to be here apparently at 9 a.m. Eastern time, because that's what the people want, and I'm here for the people. You're going to want to, this is where this really comes into play. So we're trying to get those chops picked up. And also, again, if you have a dead roster spot, pick up Gibson. If he has 12 points, he's going to be a waiver wire priority. So go ahead and pick up Gibby. Ramondre Stevenson, of course, is the running back 1, 100%, not saying that at all. But again, you take those players off the field if you're getting your ass kicked, if you're just not doing anything offensively. So if they're projected to get beat down, and they do get beat down, why would Ramondre stay on the field to run between the tackles? They're going to use more Gibson. So we're looking for opportunities on the offense for Gibson. I have him at running back 41, which might not seem too exciting, but I do have him ahead of Jaleel McLaughlin, Zeke Elliott, Austin Eckler, and Trey Benson. So there is a path to him to scoring some. Yeah, Jeremy's making a good point. Jeremy made a great point that he is a dead roster spot. Yes. So if he does something, there you go. He'll wake up. But yeah, he could be your dead roster spot for sure. For sure. Keenan Allen, Terry, or Pollard start 9, half PPR. Any thoughts? Let me go ahead and further. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Terry Mack. Terry Mack at wide receiver 17. Because of the injury, I had dropped down Keenan Allen quite a bit. I'm at wide receiver 33, and he could probably even go a little bit lower than that. Pollard, I do like Pollard. I have him as a top 20 play at running back 18, but give me Terry Mack. Give me Scary Terry there in that spot, DP. Gibby's my RB2. Yeah, dude, right? Right? All right, so Nicholas gets it. All right, that's what's up. Let's go. Gibby love in the house. All right, well, let's move on to wide receiver. My wide receiver here in the shit list is Adonai Mitchell. The Indianapolis Colts host the Houston Texans in a divisional matchup. AD Mitchell's about 35% rostered on ESPN. The over-under of 48.5, that's the 3rd highest on the slate. Indianapolis are 2.5-point home dogs. Not a strong indicator of comeback mode, but enough of one that downfield plays are going to have to happen for the Colts to have success. The Texans secondary was good last year, so I don't like attacking good secondaries. But their best player, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, Derek Stingley, who is definitely a top 10 cornerback, a lot of his attention is going to go Michael Pittman's way. So if that just kind of frees up AD to kind of be on his own, and if he can kind of stay away from Derek Stingley, you picking up what I'm putting down? You don't want to attack good defenses, but you really don't want to attack good players. And if that good player is not on AD Mitchell, it's going to allow for a better opportunity for big plays. And big plays is what we need, and big plays is what AD Mitchell can provide. Last year, he led the Texas wide receiver room in yards per reception. Why does that matter that he led just his team? Well, he had Xavier Worthy on his team. And so we saw what Xavier Worthy was able to do in an NFL uniform on Thursday. So the fact that AD was really kind of considered the big play guy on the Longhorns offense last year suggests that the kid can make big plays. I don't think we have to make it much more difficult than that. With both offenses looking to put up the points, both offenses are looking to make a statement. Both teams are looking to get a divisional win. These divisional rivals can kind of, late in the season, they typically cater to more slugfest, more less point scoring, more defenses. But in the beginning of the year, as these defenses are kind of getting acclimated, especially indoor matchups, you can see a lot more points being scored, and they're both going to want to get the leg up on one another. They are going to want to make sure that one wins and comes away as the champ or the champ of week one. I guess you said it's kind of crazy, week one champ. And anyway, we're all going to think we're week one champs if we win our matchups anyway. So I guess I'm Freudian slip there. And we're looking for big plays. We don't need volume, but we need big plays, and we need him to avoid Derek Stingley in a matchup in which the Colts are going to have to attack deep to stay in this game, to win this game. Yeah, they're going to try to run the ball, but their defense isn't ready to stop C.J. Stroud in a healthy Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon. The Colts, even at home, are not equipped to stop that offense, especially at week one when they're healthy, firing on all cylinders, coming off Rookie of the Year. CJ Stroud's going to dice. I got CJ Stroud at quarterback 4. So my man's going to toss it, and they're going to have to toss – Rich and company's going to have to toss the rock to stay in this game and definitely try to win this game. I have A.D. Mitchell this week at wide receiver. I gotta make sure I make better notes because when I'll delete all these guys, then where I'm looking. Okay, AD Mitchell, 55. That's ahead of Jalen Polk, Curtis Samuel, Marvin Mims. He's kind of at the top of the boom or bust rankings part of the rankings. But I like him at top of as much as anybody in terms of that type of play. I only have him 2 spots behind guys like Brandon Cooks, only 4 spots behind Keon Coleman, 5 spots behind Gabe Davis, 6 spots behind Darnell Mooney. So we have these big play guys that we're more certain of. He's at the top of the almost certain. So he's about to eclipse that role. And if you need a receiver, you need a flex. A.D. Mitchell is a guy worth adding now. And again, if you're just trying to clear a dead spot, you have a third quarterback that you don't give a rip about or a second defense you don't care about. A.D. Mitchell's out there. Go ahead and pick A.D. Mitchell because you have a nice little game. Varsity Blues is where I saw my first boobs. That happened for a lot of us, my friend. That Varsity Blues was there for us in many ways when we were younger, for sure. Quarterback, tight end. Tyler Conklin. I love Tyler Conklin on the season, playing with Aaron Rodgers. Like him this week, going to San Francisco. He's only about 40% rostered on ESPN. The over/under of 43. It's about middle of the slate. Maybe a bit of a slug, like a kind of a sludging game, not really a flashy game. Jets are getting 4.5 points on the road. Makes sense. Last year, the Niners defense really did funnel targets to tight ends. They play really strong on the outside. Travarius Ward, they're really good at shutting down. They really try to shut down outside passing attacks. Of course, with the pass rush too, quarterbacks have to get the ball out quicker, which has kind of funneled those targets to opposing tight ends. Last year, they gave up 125 to just tight ends last year. And this week, I got Tyler Conklin as a top 15 play. After the adjustments, Tyler Conklin for me is tight end 12. So if you have Cody Parkinson and you're just not sure, if you don't know who to decide between Zach Ertz and Ben Sinnott, if you don't really want to play Taysom Hill, but you know he's going to get – go ahead and see if Tyler Conklin's out there. Tyler Conklin, he's got as good a bet to catch a touchdown as anyone in this range. And he's going to be out there. He's going to be with Aaron Rodgers and, 7 catches, 50 yards and a touchdown, even 5 catches for 40 yards touchdown. Touchdowns on the table, as well as 4, 5, 6 catches in a game where they're going to have to throw a sum to make sure that they're competitive against the 49ers. So I love Tyler Conklin this week. All right. Here we go. The last two here, defense, kicker. So if you don't have this, you might want to stick around because I am giving out homework. Yes, on the game plan during the season, I do give you guys homework. The show doesn't end here. You got to think about me all week. You got to do homework if you want to be part of the planner community. But anyway, stick around for that. DST that I love is I've been touting them all week. Anyone who will listen, Los Angeles Chargers. I love the Chargers this week. They're only 6% rostered on Sleeper. They have an over-under of 40.5. That's lowest on the weekend, tied with New England and Cincinnati. So it's going to be a boring football game. They're 3-point home favorites, meaning it's basically a pick 'em. You get 3 points. When you give 3 points when you're at home. Gardner Minshew, he threw 9 picks and only 13 starts last year. And the Chargers, they have playmakers on D. They kept Joey Bosa. They kept Khalil Mack, Derwin James. They just paid their prime cornerback, their best cornerback that they have, Samuel. So they're ready to be a good defense. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh. Come on now. Come on. And not only Jim Harbaugh, but Antonio Pierce. These are two head coaches that pride playing defense, pride on running the ball, and they're not going to go too crazy in week one. The over under suggests that, the spread suggests that. So take the layup. The defenses can come out electric, make a whole bunch of plays, and give up 30 points, and it comes on the wash. Or you can get a team that's going to get some sacks, possibly a couple turnovers, and you can walk away with that positive game from your defense. So I'm picking up the Chargers this week. I'm also picking up the Chargers because their first 3 games are actually not too bad for DST. Then they get the Chiefs, and then they have a bye. So you're only going to get a 3-game window. But this is a pickup you could use this week and then maybe hold on to for the next couple. So and also Minter is a good DC. Correct. Absolutely correct. Would I go Chargers over Bengals? Yep, I think I would. I like the Bengals. That game, I just don't see as many. I could see the Chargers being like that. I could see the Chargers scoring on defense. I could see the Chargers be like, holy shit, we have to fear the Chargers defense, where the Bengals, they'll probably just stop a bad offense. And that doesn't always mean a ton of sacks. It doesn't always mean a ton of turnovers, but it's close. Bengals are going to be a top most platforms ranking. So if they're available and you want to be a little safer, go Bengals. But I think if you want that ceiling, you want to, oh shit, type of game, I think the Chargers have it in their 4:00 slate. And then finally, the kicker that I'm streaming, he's only going to be a streamer for a couple weeks, guys. So make sure you pick him up now, and then you may not have to listen to this part of the show because you won't need a kicker. Jake Bates. Jake Bates won the job for the Detroit Lions. Jake Bates, the guy that we remember last year in the UFL, the AAFL, the XFL, the CFL, the GFL, whatever FL he was in last year. My man was kicking 60 yardas on with consistency. My man was kicking the living dog shit out of the ball in whatever league he was in. I don't know what it was. USFL. It changes every damn year. But Jake Bates is a big leg. He has a huge leg. He made the team. And in this game, 51 point over under, highest in the week 1 slate overall. Vegas projects points. Points will be scored a plenty. And they're 3.5 point favorites. So we could be absolutely looking at a back and forth type of game. And if he kicks 2 50-yarders and 3 extra points, holy shit, you're cooking. If he kicks a 50-yarder and 5 extra, holy shit, whatever. He's going to be kicking the ball a ton. He's indoors. And like I said, the kid he's got leg. Jake Bates, I'm trying to remember what Michigan Renegades, I want to say it was like maroon jerseys. I don't know. I'm getting too crazy. I don't need. Who cares about where he kicked last year? This year, he's rocking the blue. He's playing for the Detroit Lions, and he's going to be awesome. In the preseason, he was 6 of 7 on field goals. His only miss was from 30. And I know he missed from 30. That's a fluke. He's going to kick 30 yards. And then when you see what he made, 55, 53, 43, 32, 23. That's a 42-yard kicks on average. We're rocking Jake Bates. This offense is going to hum. This offense has 14 indoor games during the fantasy season. 14. Jake Bates, pick him up now because you won't need a kicker the rest of the year. But you also, I do want you back. I do want you back for sure. Bates or Greg the Leg. Give me Bates. Greg the Leg's going to have to kick in the Northeast. There's going to be games New England that's going to suck. Buffalo. Give me the guy with 14 indoor games. That's just how I feel, Fizz. Give me Bates. I think a bold take. I didn't have this in my bold take video. Maybe I should have. Jake Bates is this year's Aubrey. What's his name? Brandon Aubrey from the Cowboys. I almost said Aubrey Graham. Like Drake? Huh? What? Huh? What? He not like us. What? Psych. Jake Bates. I like Jake Bates this year. I love Jake Bates for a whole lot of reasons. 14 games indoors, kicks the shit out of the ball in a high-powered offense. Give me Jake Bates all day, every day. Sean Roberts, I need a wide receiver. Would you cut Spears or Corum for Wilson or Polk? Man, that sucks, Sean. Can you make a trade last minute? Can you get on the horn and make a trade? What size is his roster? I hate cutting either of those running backs, man, especially in seasonal. Running backs become gold. They're poo-pooed up until now, and once the rubber meets the road, they're like gold. I don't want to give up any of those running backs, especially if I'm just cutting them. See if you can trade him. If you can't, I'm picking up Polk. I think he has more withstanding ability over the season. But if you're looking for a 1 week flash, I need one guy. I need just one 1 week. I got Michael Wilson at 41. I got Polk at 56. I think Michael Wilson has a decent week, has a chance at a big play touchdown. So if I had to, I'm taking Wilson, and if I have to cut, it's Corum. But man, if you can, small roster going to hold. Try to hold, brother, and try to make that trade. You can get a receiver. Guys will possibly pop better than ever. Buffalo D versus Arizona with the bad weather, or New Orleans versus Carolina. How bad is the weather? See, this is the one thing about going too early in the morning. You don't get to look at all the parts of the world weather-wise. You don't get the full psycho mode like I will be able to soon enough. Buffalo, New York. Let me see. Sun, clouds. Okay, let me see my hourly. Give me an hourly, internet. I need me an hourly. No, I don't want ads on weather.com. Is that where we're at in this world? Mostly cloudy. Doesn't look too bad. Don't look too bad. I think Arizona's going to be able to. Yeah. I think the weather looks good today. Maybe I'm going to go New Orleans, but I don't. I think New Orleans. I think if the Chargers are there, I'm going Chargers over both of those. I'm going both of them. Yeah. All right. So now I'm assuming boots on the ground. So we got good weather up in thing. Been picking up the kickers in all kicker leagues. Hell yes. All right. So the shit list for this week at quarterback: Trevor Lawrence; at running back, Antonio Gibson; A.D. Mitchell for my receiver; Tyler Conklin for tight end; the Chargers DST; and Jake Bates at kicker. Go ahead and pick those guys up if you're in desperate need. Thank you for rocking with me here at 9 a.m. It appears it will stay at 9 a.m., but make sure you leave in the comments, should I go to 9 a.m. or should I push it back later in the morning? I want to do what the people want me to do, but I'm okay with staying here at 9. I like waking up and getting my Sunday morning started with y'all. But make sure you're following the South Harmon, or subscribe to the South Harmon FF YouTube channel. Get those notifications on, because like I said, our Sunday coverage is best around. You got the game plan in the morning, start or shit at noon, and then Adam and Mike will be back this afternoon for a great recap. So I want to make sure that alarm bell's on, those notifications on, so you don't miss a thing. While I got you, before you go, if you're trying to keep it tight, head over to Manscaped. Use the promo code SHFF20 to get 20% off your Manscaped order. You're going to have to look good to play good. And to look good, head over to Manscaped and use that promo code SHFF20 at checkout to get 20% off. You can follow me on X. I'm at Matty Kiwoom. southharmonff.com is the website. You get Warp. Join the Patreon there, patreon.com/SouthHarmon. Get in the Discord, because Sunday mornings in the Discord's like none other. Everyone's in there. Everyone's getting their laps together, getting their lineups right together. So you want to be part of the community. You want to be part of South Harmon. South Harmon to the moon. Week 1, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure we keep game planning, my friends. And I will see your asses next week. Good luck in week 1. Peace.